Yes, Pinto.
Yes,
Sanjay
ma'am.
Pinto.
Hi. Does the Tamil Nadu Hostel Regulation Act house a loophole? Let me explain. An elderly widow had rented out the only property bequeathed by her husband for residential use. The tenant, however, used the premises to run a women's hostel without the consent of the owner and with no statutory approvals or a license and registration as mandated by the Tamil Nadu Hostel and Homes for Women and Children Regulation Act 2014 and the rules of 2015. What's worse, the tenant had refused to vacate the premises at the expiry of the lease period and even stopped paying rent, denying the elderly owner her livelihood. A double whammy ensued, with the municipal authorities converting the property tax tariff from residential to commercial, forcing this senior citizen owner to cough up a 2000% hike in property tax. Remember, 2000% hike. The owner has had to engage in costly litigation to shut down the unlicensed hostel and get back her property. Now, owners and entrepreneurs, those who run hostels, allege two extreme scenarios. The statute is either used as a tool to harass people or is hardly enforced effectively, negating its legislative intent and the state's protective role as parens patriae, that is, parent of the people, to ensure the safety of women and children in these homes. This is despite failure to obtain a license and registration being punishable offences with imprisonment up to 2 years and fine up to 50,000 rupees under sections 21(1), 21 and 22. What's more, the Madras High Court Division Bench in K. Kadiresan versus State of Tamil Nadu in 2019 had made it abundantly clear that no hostel, lodging house or homes for women and children shall function across the state from the 1st March 2019 without a license issued by the statutory authority. 3 years on, what's the story? The hostel law also withstood judicial scrutiny. A division bench of the Madras High Court in P.S. Deepthi versus State of Tamil Nadu in 2019 had upheld the constitutionality of the statute and ruled that when safety and security of children and women in hostels, lodging houses and homes for children are paramount objects, indeed there should be an exclusive enactment for these vulnerable sections of society. Concern of the state cannot be said to be unrealistic and that special laws were unwarranted. The senior citizens case has exposed a glaring loophole in the Hostels Regulation Act. Aside of police clearance, a hostel needs a certificate from the Fire and Rescue Services as per Form 2, that is Clause 9(9), the Building Stability and Sanitary Certificates as per Clause 2, Clause 9(8), and under 3(4) of the rules of 2015. Then there is the requirement of a license through proceedings of the collector under the rules of 2015, and condition 3 of the said license stipulates a minimum space of 120 square feet per woman occupant. There is also the need for building approval under section 15(1) of the Act of 2014. Strangely, the law is conspicuously silent on the need to get the owner's written no objection certificate when the hostel is run on a rented premises. So you need multiple clearances from multiple authorities, but no written consent of the owner when this hostel is run on a rented premises. That's shocking, and that calls for immediate change. Now, the charges of harassment of owners of homes that are used, for instance, for paying guest accommodation can actually be tackled by a strict interpretation of the definition of homes and hostels. Section 2D defines home for women and children, and it says it means an institution by whatever name called, established or maintained or intended to be established or maintained for the reception, care, protection and welfare of women or children or both. Similarly, under section 2E, hostel or lodging house means a building in which accommodation is provided for both women or children with or without boarding. The first bench of the Madras High Court in a recent case in Ashwin Kurapati Rao versus Collector 2022 delved into this definition and clarified that the word means indicates that the definition is exhaustive, complete, and limited to the subjects designated therein, shutting down all others. The court concluded that it relates to homes in the nature of an institution. This is crucial. Homes in the nature of an institution and not to just any or every home where women and children are housed. Now, as for the conversion to commercial rates of property tax, the statute must also have a provision for automatic revision to residential tariff when it is proved that a hostel was being run without the owner's written permission. After all, a law must be harsh on offenders but compassionate with victims.